5 reasons why you are unprofitable in day trading. I want to preface this video by saying that I myself am not profitable yet. I want to say I'm in the break-even stage. I've been trading for about 6 years now, Forex and now futures. And just recently, or in the last couple of months, I've been able to get some payouts from prop firms, but I'm at that point where I'm throwing money back into these firms as well. And so I did a recent analysis on my performance, of my trading performance recently. And I've come to the conclusion that these are the 5 reasons why I have not been able to become profitable yet, right? Because I will be profitable. And yeah, without further ado, let's dive right in. So the 5 reasons. Number 1, not following your trading plan. This is obviously a very simple one, and I think a lot of traders already know this to be true. Depends on where you are in your journey. Let's say you're first starting out. Of course, this is where you need to develop a trading plan. If you don't have a trading plan, that is definitely something that you need to do. But if you are a little bit more seasoned and you've already developed a trading plan, or maybe you're following someone else's trading plan, and you'll see some success while following that plan. But most cases, what you'll notice is that every time that you start to see some regression in your progress, right? Or maybe you'll see some stagnancy where you just like stay stagnant. You seem to make a little bit of progress, but then you kind of go back. This has to do with you not following that plan. I know that is the case because when it comes down to my personal trading journey, I will make so much progress when I am following my trading plan, but then, I get a little overconfident, I get a little greedy. That's another thing that really affects me. And what I'll end up doing is I'll take 2 steps forward, but I'll end up taking 3 steps back whenever I don't follow my trading plan, right? And this might have to do with like your strategy. Maybe like I personally trade a breakout slash continuation strategy. And for the most part, I think a lot of traders, they have a good strategy. Really, you could be a toddler and you could click buy or sell on the chart and you can still make money. So it's not really the strategy that's the problem. It's really the trading plan, because when it comes to strategy, there are other things in play as well, such as risk management, right? Or maybe you have a maximum trade limit. I know if you've probably seen this on the internet as well, most good traders will literally just take 1 or 2 setups a day and that's it, because they know that they have a finite amount of emotional capital, right? Like emotional energy. And they know that anything past like 2 trades, usually their emotions kind of get fucked up. Their psychology starts to take a hit. And I know this to be the case as well, because my first 2 trades are usually banger trades. Even if it's a loss, I usually end up managing that trade very well. It's any trade after my second or third trade that is usually when things start to go haywire. I start over trading, over leveraging, all these good things, right? Or bad things, really. So yeah, so strategy, risk management, trade limit. Maybe you have like a certain time frame that you want to trade, or like within a certain time slot, right? Like for example, like New York session. All these things are a part of your trading plan, and it's going to be different for a lot of different people, for everybody. But at the same time, everyone can come to the consensus that when you do not follow your trading plan, your performance will inevitably take a hit. Maybe you won't take a hit for that day, but inevitably over time, the more that you start to break your trading rules, the more risk that you are at actually blowing your account, or just regressing in terms of your trading progress. Number 2 is rushing the process, right? Now this, I want to start off by saying that rushing the process is something that me personally, I've fallen victim to this very often. I would say I'm 29 right now, so a lot of people that I'll see in the online space, they're like younger crowd, right? It would be anywhere like the early 20s, mid 20s, and with the adoption or the introduction of the internet, it's really a good tool, yeah. But at the same time, social media has kind of allowed people to fall into this trap of constantly comparing yourself to others. But I won't get too much into comparing yourself to others. But what social media has allowed, or caused people to do, including myself, is to think that they're not where they're supposed to be, right? Or like they can be doing so much better because they saw a 19-year-old with a Lamborghini, which by the way is great for them. But what you have to understand is that most of what you see on the internet is basically LARPing, right? A lot of these people, you don't know what the type of problems that they deal with. You don't know if they're in debt. You don't know if they're making monthly payments on these things that they show you. And of course, at the end of the day, they can be making a return on investment on these things as well, because when you post stuff like Lamborghinis and stuff, of course you're getting eyes, and then you can maybe sell a product or something, and eventually you might make a return on investment on making or renting that Lamborghini, or whatever, making a payment for the month, whatever the case may be. But what this has caused a lot of people to think is that you need to rush the process, right? And the reality is, when you think about a lot of the successful people that have made it big in the world, a lot of them make it in their 30s, a lot of them make it in their 40s. I know like a lot of big time actors, guys like Elon Musk. I know Elon Musk made it when he was like 30, but I think he created Tesla and SpaceX when he was like closer to 38. And like Bill Gates, I don't know about Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, maybe when he was younger, but Bill Gates, I know, was grinding Microsoft for a very long time before he finally saw some sort of success in his 30s, right? And this is usually the case for a lot of guys. I know the internet makes you think otherwise, but I just want to put it out there that you rushing the process will actually cause you to take, you might take like 2 or 3 steps forward, but then if you start to rush the process, what ends up happening is you'll take 3 to 5 steps backwards, right? And so rushing the process is actually hindering your progression towards your goal. Rather than if you were to just take it slow and steady, then you'd be able to get to your goals a whole lot faster, right? For example, there's this children's book called The Tortoise and the Hare. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but in this book, it's quite simple. There's a tortoise and a hare. So it's a little turtle and a rabbit. And it's just a race. They want to race each other for some reason. And what ends up happening is the hare, which is the rabbit, he gets off to a lightning fast start, right? And halfway through the race, he's like, you know what? I'm doing so well for myself, I'm just gonna take a nap. And the tortoise, obviously, this motherfucker's slow as fuck. He's taking one step at a time, one step at a time. And before you know it, by the end of the book, the tortoise actually ends up winning the race. Why? Because he just stayed in his lane. He just focused on himself and he took one step at a time, while the hare on the other end, he took his position for granted, I suppose, right? And he didn't really take it too seriously, right? And he rushed the process, right? Literally, what I'm talking about right now, he rushed that hare. He rushed the process, and what ended up happening was he ended up burning out, right? He got tired. He had to take a nap, and he lost the race. So don't rush the process. At the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if you're going to get to your goal tomorrow, in a month, or a year, or 5 years, or 10 years. It doesn't matter. This goal that you have is the goal for you, right? And you want to achieve this goal, so it doesn't matter when you get there. It's just a matter of if you get there. And the only way that you will get there is quite literally just focusing on the process itself and nothing else. All the external noise must be eliminated when it comes down to it. Number 3 is not comparing yourself to others, right? This also goes hand in hand with what I was just talking about, with the fact of social media causing us to constantly compare ourselves to others. And, I fall victim to this as well, because, I'll scroll on social media, or I find myself scrolling on social media and I look at this person. This kid is 19 years old and he has a Lamborghini. I'm looking at myself and I'm like, damn, like I wish I could have something like that. And it's not even the fact that I want a Lamborghini. It's just that, I will look at something I see online and instantly I'll feel bad about my own situation, even though my situation is still better than 80% of the people in the population of the earth, right? Because if you have a roof over your head, you got food to eat, you got water to drink, you are biologically doing better than 80% of the global population. So just understand that, be grateful for where you're at, and you comparing yourself to others will actually also hinder your growth, right? So again, I spoke about how you could take 2 steps forward, but if you constantly are comparing yourself to others, what that will cause you to do is to take 3 to 5 steps backwards, and that will basically, cause you to regress on your journey, right? It's almost as if, think of it as if you were driving a car. When you're driving a car, you have to focus on what's in front of you. Yes, you might look left and right to see, even in your rear view mirror, you might have to do that from time to time just to see what is in your surroundings. But if you spend too much time focused on what is to the right of you or left of you, or even if your rear view mirror, if you spend too much time doing that, eventually what's going to end up happening is you lose sight of what's actually in front of you and what you need to actually focus on, and you will end up crashing your car, right? So this is a perfect analogy for you comparing yourself to other people will actually cause you to hinder your progression towards your own goals. It's very simple. Number 4 is you put trading on a pedestal. Now listen, in the beginning of your journey, trading, everything has to be about trading, because if you're actually serious about learning something like trading, which by the way is a very easy way to make money. I know it's very glorified because people will come onto the charts and make, maybe a doctor's salary in like a week or 2 weeks. You'll see these crazy numbers. These P&Ls are like, like skyrocketing P&Ls online. But what you fail to realize is these people that have gotten to this point, yes, they've put a lot of time and effort into actually learning the craft and learning about themselves. But when they've reached this state, genuinely, they don't even give a fuck about trading anymore, and they're more so concerned about other things in their life. And trading is just something that they do, right? It's almost as if I saw someone speak about this in a video. It's almost like brushing your teeth. It's so automatic at that point, right? So in the beginning of your journey, yes, you need to spend a lot of time actually learning how the charts move. You need to learn a strategy. You need to learn, like, you back test, forward test, all these things. But eventually, once you have all that experience, the way to actually become profitable is to treat trading like it's just like something you already do, right? You must already understand inherently that trading is just something that you do. You come onto the charts, you look for a setup. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, then you don't take any trades. You move on with your day. And you have other things that are actually important. And this is why you'll see a lot of traders, they actually start a lot of businesses on the side, because trading in and of itself is actually pretty boring, right? So that's number 4. Number 5 is you do not work on yourself. This is honestly probably a lot of people's biggest one, right? Because again, you could easily get consumed in this game of trading, because how most people are wired to think is the fact that we are all used to working a 9 to 5. And if you haven't worked a job, I suggest you probably go work a job. But most people, I'm assuming, have worked jobs before. So what ends up happening is we're so wired to thinking that if I trade, if I work 8 hours a day, then I make X amount of money. So I'm thinking I will make this hourly wage, right? And the more hours I work, the more money that I can make. Even if you have a salary-based job, you're still making those calculations, thinking, okay, I might work a little extra, a little more than 8 hours, but I still, will calculate, okay, I'm making this much money per hour. And with that type of mindset, you'll come into the charts and thinking, okay, if I put more hours into this craft, then I will make more money, because that's how it works in the real world, right? If you work overtime, you make more money, right? And so, but that is a wrong way to look at it when it comes down to trading, because actually it's not even based on like the hours that you put in. Yes, you had to learn, of course, but it's more so about, are you performing at 100%? Are you in your tip-top shape mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, etc.? All these things, right? All these things. If you are 100% all those things, are you getting good sleep? Are you practicing good habits? Do you have all these things going for you? Because at the end of the day, those are the things that will actually make sure that you perform at 100% rather than you performing at 60%. Because you can theoretically be performing at 100% 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month, maybe even a couple of months. But the second that you perform at 60%, 50%, 40%, and this all has to do with your own habits. Let's say you go to sleep late one night and then you decide that, I'm going to hop on the charts the next day, your performance will take a hit. And this is an industry in which you can actually blow everything in one day, right? Even some of the best traders, they still talk about this, right? Like they'll go on a nice run, and then because they'll have one bad day or one bad week or one bad month, and they will end up losing everything. Why? Because their performance took a hit, right? Maybe they were lacking, maybe in physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, something was lacking. And this is why it's very important for you guys to focus on being the best version of yourself. Focus on working on yourself every single day. And this is what I like to say. I live by this code. Let me say this one more time. And I live by this code. It's being 1% better every single day. That is the key. That is the key that has allowed me to become the version of myself that you guys see today. Of course, I'm looking to become 1% better every single day. So I haven't even really reached my full potential yet. But this is a philosophy that I live by, and it has allowed me to, take a large goal that I have and then break it up into just small little increments. So I know that if I'm able to, conquer the day, if I'm able to, make sure that that day was a win, and become 1% better in that one day, over time, that will compound, right? I don't know what the actual number is. I think it's like over 365%, obviously. But that will compound over time, because, one and then you add on to it. Of course, by the end of the year, end of 5 years, end of 10 years, you're going to be in an astronomically way better spot than you were when you first started, and all with that one concept of just becoming 1% better every single day. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video. These are 5 reasons why you may be unprofitable. These are 5 reasons why I personally am currently unprofitable. But with all that being said, you guys let me know in the comments below. Did any of these resonate with you? If so, I'd like to hear about it. Did I miss any? You guys let me know in the comments below. But as always, it's been a pleasure, and stay frosty, my friends.